Thank you, Chairman Gozar and Ranking Member Dexter, for holding this hearing and allowing me to wave on. Thank you so much. And I also want to thank all of our witnesses for joining us today. Chief Muncy, good to see you. I want to thank you and all those who are on the front lines for your services. Thank you. As you know, I represent California's 40th district, which is Southern California, that includes the counties of Orange, San Bernardino, and Riverside counties. So I know all too well how devastating these fires are. The airport fire that in my district that burned over almost 24,000 acres in the Santa Ana Mountains last September was devastating, and we're still recovering from it. Chip Muncy, as you know, the San Bernardino County has a lot of federal land. And I would like to know more about the roadblocks that you have faced when it comes to working with both the state of California and the federal government on wildfire prevention, the management, and the recovery efforts. So in your opinion, could you talk to us about how the local communities and stakeholders can better convene with state and federal land management agencies so we can better prepare for wildfire and forest management, having those discussions?
I think it's likely if the Palisades in Eaton hadn't occurred, we'd probably be sitting here talking about the airport fire, which was burning in conjunction with the line fire and the bridge fire, which are both in our jurisdiction at the same time. And there was really, it was a very complex environment that we're competing for resources. And at one point during the bridge fire, as fire burned in our communities, I had to empty every single one of our fire stations out, every one of them, to go into the community of Wrightwood, Mount Baldy, protect those houses. And that was very hard for me as local government because now there is no 911 system. One of the complex cities that we have right now, specifically to the federal government, is the workforce. There's been a lot of retention issues, and some very highly qualified people have left to go get jobs that provide for their families better. Frankly, CAL FIRE has attracted a lot of them. So we see a lot of acting positions, people that may be in the position but do not have the authority to make the decisions. And we see new faces a lot. It affects us with our qualification system, and as I've mentioned, the transition of having, in the incident management teams, having a large federal presence to much greater local presence. It transitions to the fire stations. In my jurisdiction, only 12 of the 25 fire stations were staffed last year, 12 out of 25, which puts a burden on local government. We respond to 8,533 calls per year into federal lands without compensation. It's the seasonal workforce instead of permanent workforce. These are things that I think that are on the table that really affect us with local government. When it comes to actually working with our neighbors, it really depends on the forest and the supervisor on how much are they going to work with their local partners. Often they focus on maybe legacy projects that somebody proposed a decade or more and put all their efforts on these projects that may not adequately protect our communities. They focus on maybe some political projects.
I want to get to some other issues too, so if you don't mind, Chip Muncy. Yeah, you know that I introduced the bill, Wildfire Technology Demonstration, Evaluation, Demonstration, and Optimization, or the DEMO Act. That was already included in the Fix Our Forest Act, and the intent of that bill is to create a pilot program to allow the private entities who are working on developing wildfire technologies to partner with the federal land management, and they will be able to test their technologies at scale. So I want to talk about how the industries, like Mr. Winner, can you answer this question? As an industry insider focusing on wildfire science and technology innovation, what are some of the emerging technologies that you think are promising in helping with the wildfire mitigation?
Yeah, so excuse me. I think that what we're seeing is an explosion of innovative ideas at every phase of fire. So there's no one, but there's a lot of options out there to help us deal with this problem. Chief Muncie and Captain Chapman both mentioned early detection being really critical. There are a lot of novel solutions out there coming out that can help us act on a fire and have better situational awareness right away. The other piece of this is advanced AI-enabled modeling, right? So that we can actually understand fire behavior, what's happening on the ground, and how a fire is likely to behave, and to get us to a potential world where as a fire ignites and we rapidly detect it, we can make decisions in near real time about how we need to respond to that fire, where it could be potentially a good fire and we could let it burn, or where it could pose a threat to structures of the environment and we need to act quickly. We also see a lot of innovative technologies in rapid suppression, whether it's autonomous aviation like RAIN. I know they have a demonstration plan in your district. And then looking at mastication, robotic mastication, and other tools like that too to help us do mitigation work at scale.
Do you see any policy reforms that is needed that you like to see so we can encourage public-private partnerships and ensure that all levels of government, local, state, federal, and fire agencies are using all of those innovative tools made by companies like yours?
Yes, so we would love to see, we're strongly supportive of your pilot demonstration project legislation, and we'd like to see it continue to be expanded. We're working with our colleagues in the Senate to see if we can expand it to have a role for deployment as well there, right? To see if the federal government can actually use these tools at scale, because we're at the point where a lot of these technologies have been demonstrated. Now we just need to get them into the field of the people who need them, right? And so that's a big piece of this. And then also increasingly creating dedicated pots for advanced and innovative wildfire technology is really important. Right now, a lot of wildfire tech gets eaten up in the IT budget. It's shared with the Microsoft Office renewal every year, right? And so I think that the committee has an opportunity to look at creative new funding pots where we can let people deploy these technologies without having to compete against other necessary IT prerogatives.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
My time's up, and I yield back.